Alright, good morning. Here's a video for the S&P 500 or SPX. Gonna just do a quick recap of what we talked about yesterday. Current condition. Looking back in August, we did see the pullback. Peaked up to around the 5,600, just above 5,600. We saw a 50% retracement. Got back above our 50-day moving average here, and now we're into this fib extension range at the 61% at just over 5,700. Kind of thinking on the daily we may see this go up to the 78% range, maybe even see a little higher than that. Looking at the oscillator, we are kind of hovering in the middle. Looks like the trend is moving upwards. And then on the cycle side down here, we are near the top of the range, but not completely over the top. And then on the monthly side, back in March was our low, March of 2020 with the COVID. And then we saw our peak in December 21. We pulled back to the 50-day moving average. Looking at our retracement. Yeah, right into the 50-day, or right into the 50% retracement range on that one as well. And then on the extension side, we are looking like we are near the end of this rally. According to our fib extension, we're into the 78% range here. So on the monthly side, again, like I spoke about yesterday, our oscillator is showing a very high oversold condition. Our cycle shows that we are at the top end, just in comparison to the last rally. Our oscillator oversold, cycle over the top. And if you look at the video I posted yesterday, there's a bit of examples going back further that we show the same condition when we're at the peak of a rally. So just to look at sectors now. I've already gone through and taken a look at some of them. I'm going to start with a few that I wanted to talk about today. Starting with XLY. So on the extension side, we did see a pullback between the 61% and the 78%. And then on fib extension, we are seeing, oops, sorry, bear with me a second. On the fib extension side, we are seeing this just getting to the 50% range. So I was thinking on the XLY that there may be some room to move on this still. We're not seeing a completely overbought condition. And on the cycle side, we're still okay. If you look back to the peak of our last rally, you'll see in this range in here, we saw that overbought range on the oscillator, and then our cycle also indicates that we're long overdue for a sell point. So on the daily for this, if we are looking to get into a different sector, the daily showing us that we are entering that overbought side, and our cycle is on the top end of the range, so I'd be pretty hesitant to get into the XLY or any stocks that are in the XLY at this point. Looking at energy next. Energy's an interesting one. Energy seems to be just kind of consolidating here in the $88 range. Not really seeing much on the Fibonacci sides. Not really near any of the moving averages, just kind of hovering around the top of this and saying that we are seeing lower lows, which is a positive, but I think we're going to see some challenging around this range if we ever do start moving upwards. We are showing on the oscillator on the monthly that this looks like it's got some potential to pull back. We are near the top end of the range, not indicating a full oversold, but the cycle side still just kind of hovering in the middle of the higher end of the range. Just looking back at our previous, you can see kind of similar in this range here, where we did see this pull back. We did see our oscillators in the oversold, and our cycle was over the top for a while there. On the daily side, as you can see, that lower low seems to be holding so far. We'll see how that plays out over the next coming weeks. But looking at our fib retracement, we fell out of the range, likely down into the 78% it probably hit. Let me just turn that part on. Yeah, we stopped right at the 78% here, so potential to see a bounce here. We'll see what the next week or two tells us on the XLE side. Move on to real estates, so XLRE. This one's a really interesting one. I spent a bit of time looking at this earlier this morning. So on the monthly, on the fib retracement side, we pulled back between the 61% and 78% retracement range. On the extension side, we're just getting to that 50% mark. Into here. Our oscillator shows this has got lots of room to go, and then it is trending upwards. And our cycle side showing the same thing. It's got room to move, and it's trending upwards. Now, what is a little bit concerning, and we're going to be finding out a lot of information over the next few months on what way this rally is going to go, is when we reverse our fib retracement. We're hovering, we're holding on right around the, or we've hit right around the 61% of the downtrend of the last move in the XLRE. So I'm going to be watching very closely in the next couple months where this is going to go. Looking at the, this would be more on the weekly side. I'll change the chart over in a second, but you can see this small move here. So on the weekly, we saw this move come down in between the 50% and 61% range. And then we got our bounce on the extension side on the weekly time frame. we've completely blown it out of the water. We're over the range now, so I'd be very hesitant to be getting into XLRE at this point. As you can see, our oscillator's telling us the same info, and our cycle side is telling us the same info as well. So I wouldn't be making any moves on the real estate stocks at this point. We'll see how these play out over the next few weeks. I would assume we're going to see a decent pullback here. Let's see what our fib extension's telling us. Range, I'm guessing it's going to align with the prior high and the 50-day moving average. So yeah, I would assume that we're going to come back into somewhere in around here at some point. Appears to be the most likely. Our 50 days probably going to move up into here. Our previous highs in there. Okay, moving on to XLU. I want to use an example of this one here. You can see pretty long bull run back since 09. Lots of pullbacks and dips and buy opportunities. So from our COVID low to September of 23 or October of 23, we saw a nice pullback. And now we're in that upper range. So let's see what our extension's telling us. So extension's telling us this has got some room to go. I would assume we're going to be somewhere into this area on this. The oscillator showing us the same info. We got lots of room to move up. And the cycle side, same thing. Again, looking back here for the COVID time frame, we did see our peak. Our oscillator was saying oversold. And our cycle is also showing us that it was a sell opportunity. So I was just looking at the weekly on this one. Weekly looks like we're going to see a pullback. If I were to be looking at this, I wouldn't be looking to get into this right now. Likely going to see a pullback. Maybe my fib side is a little too aggressive. Maybe we need to bring it up into this range here, which would tell us we're probably going to pull back into the previous high in here, the $71 range would be my guess. So I'm not really looking to buy anything on the utility side at this current time. Gold. So I was looking at this earlier as well. Pretty far ahead, up above our 50-day moving average. On the monthly side, we're right at the top end of the fib extension range. As you can see, I got that plotted out already. I mean, this could easily continue to go on. This is in kind of a parabolic state right now, but I'm not looking to get into gold at this point. We're at the top of our range. Our oscillator is showing this thing could turn at any time, and our cycle also is saying this thing's going to go in comparison to the last one. Same thing. Here we are. Everything's showing we need to sell. Not saying this can't go any higher, but I'm not looking to get into gold at all. So if this is going to continue, the assumption would be that we're going to see a pullback down to probably about the 50% range by the looks of it on the fib extensions and on the fib retracement. So I would guess something in around here. We'll see at some point when that is. I mean, time will tell, but that's what I'm thinking for gold. Now for oil. Oil is very interesting. On the fib retracement side, we saw this come right back into the 50% range. Holding right there, just above the 100-day moving average. Sorry, 100-month moving average. Lots of attempts. We've created, or we've seen this hold on to this 64-ish range. We're also seeing on the oscillator, we're just kind of hovering in the middle, and the cycle side just hovering in the middle as well. What I find interesting on this one is on the daily. On the daily, we are in a condition where maybe we can take a chance on this one and that we're at the bottom. We don't really have any trend going right now, other than we keep seeing in this range here, $65, 67, 63. This seems to be a good support area for oil. So what we are seeing is this support area. We are seeing the oscillator showing us a strong buy condition. And we are seeing the cycle side showing us that this has some room to go. So if I were looking anywhere, I would probably be looking in oil for a short bounce. I think that we could be seeing either this thing take off up and get challenged in around the 50-day or 100-day moving average area, or we could see this thing just kind of bounce up and back down and see if we still hold this support line again in the future. But I think there's an opportunity in oil to make a little bit of money here, so I'd be looking at oil. That's all I have for the sectors today. I'll be planning on posting some more videos as the week goes on to see where we're at, if we're what direction the S&P 500 moves and some of the sectors throughout the middle of the week. Thank you, and have some good trading this week.